we still be able to enter a credit card number manually?
Manually would be through that device by tapping into the keypad on it.
Okay. Okay.
The keyboard inside of RDP would just be disabled because it won't let you actually input credit card numbers into the credit card field without one of those devices.
Okay. Good to know.
But yeah, so if you're getting a call on the phone, you have to walk up to another machine, pop open that reservation, and type it in through one of the front desk Venerum devices.
Okay. The first question I had was we've got a group, NOSC. It's a Navy group that we get reservations for. Is it possible to bill a reservation to that master account, or does it have to be made through that account in order to bill to it?
So anyone who comes in like that, they make up a new reservation. You could go ahead and just immediately attach it to the group master.
Okay.
Up here.
Perfect.
What was it called?
NOSC.
And it's actually gonna pull settings from what you have set on that main group master. So really from there, you should be good to just run it through just like a normal reservation. As long as that group's attached, its pay code's set properly, it will just do its thing at that point.
Okay.
If you look at the folio now, you'll see that one night stay is flagged with an M.
Okay.
Where typically that'd be an I for most other reservations. That means that this line item is flagged to be sent to the group master. And you can see that also if you look at the charge summary. You can see that all the money is sitting on the line for the group and not on the line for the individual's folio.
Okay. Alrighty.
That's really about it, though. There's not a ton to it. If you were to post other charges to it, just random miscellaneous charges,
Yeah.
those would all get flagged to the iFolio, and they would be forced to pay those upon departure.
Perfect. Alright, my next question, just go over again real quick how to print out, let's say, like check-in cards for the day, the reg cards for the day.
Okay. When you're doing anything in bulk, it's going to be up through Reporter.
Okay.
Reporter, Reports, and the check-in cards are, I think, typically in the front desk section. Go there. And everything that I've done for you starts with CI.
Okay.
You can kind of, it's specific with your logo on it because it's being printed out for a guest. Just look for the CI stuff.
Right.
So we've got reg cards by arrival. Double click on that. Choose the date of arrival that you're printing them out for. And if you didn't fill in the info, it's just going to be blank.
So for our prepaid reservations that come in through Expedia, do we have one set up to print without the rate? Next was printing out that housekeeping checklist.
Alright, so it should be Reporter, Reports, Housekeeping,
Room status.
This one here. Any particular date? Do you already have something in mind or not?
No, I just was kind of looking for it.
Okay. Up it up to something else. Just leave that 0 to Z. That just means pull up every room number. You could specify a single or a short range if you really wanted to for some reason.
Okay. And then as they're going around cleaning rooms, What's the what's their procedure to like update the housekeeping status on a room?
So whoever's going to be the one changing it is going to be under housekeeping.
Okay.
And that's just the room status
Okay.
section. And just click total. That'll pull up all the rooms on the list below because it comes up empty to start with.
Okay, and then you just click.
Scroll down and just check the box.
All right.
Obviously it would be dirty. Come over and just check it clean.
Okay. All right. I wanted to go over the check-in process, but since we don't have the thing set up, it's not gonna look right, is it?
You mean as far as credit cards?
Yeah. I mean, can we just check
Good
people
call.
in?
Fine.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's go through that for the system date.
Okay. Got a raffles list. Remember, you got your starting points up here at the top too. So
Yeah.
Morning shift, you're probably gonna be sitting on departures, and after all that's done, you'll be sitting on the arrivals list,
Yep.
waiting for them. You can just look at them. So we'll just take the first one and go through it. Take Aaron here. Shows up at the front. You're just going straight to check-in.
Yep.
Hopefully you've already got the reg cards printed out, waiting, and keys, and all that.
Yep.
This case here is the one I say this is an Expedia reservation.
Mhm.
So that there is something on the A folio. You end up with two tabs here.
Okay.
It pulls you over into the tab that actually has money on it.
Right.
And a lot of times you may get an Expedia credit card for these guys,
Yeah.
and you could actually apply that to the folio A, and you could have a separate credit card kind of sitting on. You'd end up with two credit cards in the reservation.
Right. That's how we do it now,
Drop
so
down.
that makes sense.
Okay. So, of course, we picked the more complex one here. But no, you come in if there is a balance owing, but you don't pay until checkout, right?
We authorize at check-in usually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So say you're authorizing, you just hit the authorize button here.
Mhm.
I've got it set to automatically go to authorize on check-in, so that should be the right spot already.
Yep.
Now, you just fill in the amount that you want to authorize for. I don't think we have a deposit policy set up.
No. Nope.
It's not trying to.
Just the room total.
It's not trying to autofill this number in for you.
Okay.
So you can just look over to the right side and see, what do you need to authorize the credit card for? Let me use one that's not a folio A. Okay, so this is what it normally look like. Okay, folio I balance $112. I don't know what you typically authorize for if you go above and beyond that, or...
Nope, just the room amount.
Okay. So, put in the amount. Once it's in this field, your credit card swiper should light up, and then you can type in the numbers on the keypad, and all this will just populate for you. Card number, expiration, auth, all that stuff will just populate.
Okay. And then once we did that, do we hit the authorize card button down there?
Yeah, you hit the authorized card. So once you get it, either you swipe it or you type it in, hit authorized card, you'll get a pop-up window, and that's when you're actually communicating with Tenarum at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just hit the, I think it's just a submit or process button that's inside that window.
Okay.
Click it, you'll start seeing some stuff going across the screen, the communications with them, and it'll tell you whether or not, did it complete, was there an error.
Right.
It's pretty self-explanatory once you see it. Then once you finish that, the authorized card button goes away, then you just have a check-in button. Well, in this case here, I'm going to just do a none, because I can't really run one through here.
Right.
Hit check-in, and then go on. Now, check-in, it just gives you this little screen here. It says checking successful. And where do you want to go next?
Right.
A lot of times I just return to the previous screen, which would be my
next one I had was the process of posting that POS charge, the point of sale room. What's the sort of fastest way to get to that?
So that one is one we want to just have checked in, sitting in the in-house list.
Yeah.
Or should be. I take it there's not one already created, right? And the reservation stuff that you're going to want to make up. I mean, you'll have to choose your interval. Is it going to be daily, weekly, monthly? Just depends how much activity you get on it.
Right.
Because the more activity, the messier it gets if something goes wrong. So you want to keep it, halfway clean, if possible. You may change steps as you go along for this. So new reservation, we can just go straight to the room. Yeah, there we go, POS. And if you're setting up for a week, then, you want to probably set it up, every single night the same. Like, are you going to do it on Sunday night? Do we go ahead and make it up from Monday through the next Sunday, or however you do it?
We usually just balance it daily.
Okay, that's fine. So you can make up a bunch of these ahead of time, too, if you wanted to just go ahead and make them up, create the reservations. Then all you got to do is check them in when they're ready to use them. But it's up to you, whatever your process is going to be there.
Yeah.
Let's just make it up for today, the 19th. We can actually check it in, do it for one night.
Would it work to just have, like, one reservation set up super long and just post the charges and payments?
Well, that's what I was saying. You want to choose how long you want to do it. Typically, I do it, most places probably do it for a week.
Okay.
And then balance it to make sure it's, I wouldn't do it super long just because if there is a problem with it, you end up with a whole lot of stuff on a folio and it's really hard to sort.
Right. Okay. All right, that makes sense.
I'll make it for a week.
Yeah.
I just want to set the adults to 0 just so it doesn't show up as an extra person in my statistics or anything else. And then for this, it's just a comp rate. You can do comp or you can do the N/R1 because it is a non-rental room. It's just related to your preference at this point.
Yeah, I think NR1 because we will use the comp rate for
that way you
actually comping.
Differentiate the comp rate from another one if you're running a report.
Yeah.
So I added a quote, make reservation. I could just hammer it straight to make res. And then you just want to figure out what your naming convention is going to be for this. It's just going to be POS. Fine. Make that up. Now, since one doesn't exist right now, I'm just going to make one. But in the future, you just want to find the existing point-of-sale guest
Right.
by hitting the find button. That way you don't end up with lots of guest history records for POS.
Right.
Now we got a res just out there. This is where I was saying you could make up a bunch of these ahead of time if you wanted to. That way they're just kind of sitting in the arrivals list, waiting for this one to check out and the next one to check back in.
Right.
So it would show up on your arrivals list the day that you need to actually reconcile it. So now it's just sitting in your in-house list, waiting to be used for anything that comes up. And for that, when something does come up, you're just going to post a charge to it. Post charge on the left. Just make sure it's highlighted. Post charge. And then pick the item that's going to go to it. Gift shop, food, postage. Whatever your typical ones are.
Yeah.
And if you needed to, you could add to the description if you care to differentiate.
Okay.
Once again, that's another Jeff call.
Right.
Everyone decided to do that one.
Right.
If you want to do more than one, so maybe you're in the screen and you've got a few things that they're buying, and you need to differentiate between gift shop and, say, food and postage, because each one of these goes to its own, I think, tax category and possibly end accounting ledger.
Yep.
You can just hit add to list, then go grab another one. You're going to get this on this one because you didn't authorize anything on this reservation, so just ignore that.
Okay.
They've exceeded their credit limit because we didn't set an authorization amount on there. You might get that around a lot. take a peek up here at the top. It shows you what their charges are. So if somebody's racking up something, maybe that's a good warning. So you can see here how the postage, posts with no tax, whereas the gift shop item posted with tax. So be aware of the transaction code you are using, and don't try to use postage for a food item or a gift shop item. Use the correct one.
Right.
Food. Not sure what this has on this. Okay, food is also tax exempt as well.
Okay.
And once you've posted everything you need to post to this reservation for the point of sale, you can go ahead and hit save list and close. You'll see it on their folio down at the bottom now. You still have to charge the items in order to take the cash, or else you would end up with an out of balance folio.
Right.
So you still want to charge the item either way, just like it's a cash register.
Yeah.
And then go and just take the payment after that. So just deposit payment. And it should, whatever the outstanding balance is, should show up here.
No, it's
As long as you paid off the previous one.
Okay.
Important to make sure you kind of keep track of everything. You're not just doing this later on.
Right.
Take some cash, $34.18. You can just go back into it if somebody else is in line to do the same thing. You can click back on folio just to kind of see what's happened here. You got your items, here they are, being paid for a total of balance of nothing.
All right. Cool.
And then you can reuse that for the next person. Just post charge, take payment. That's it.
Split payments for a room. Can we just authorize multiple cards for half amount when we're doing the check-in process?
Yeah, that's the easiest thing. So say you've got anybody in departures, okay, in-house. So you just have one reservation in that case, right?
Yeah.
You got two people wanting to pay for it?
Yep.
Okay. So when you go into your deposit section, just, cut the amount down by whatever the person wants to pay for it. So, and this here is showing you actual. Watch that too. It's confusing because I'm taking payment for somebody who hasn't checked out yet.
Right.
So, this filter is set to actual, which is only $10 of charge so far because their room revenue hasn't posted for the night yet because you haven't gone through your audit. If you need to just change that for any reason because this is confusing you, just swap it to all.
Okay.
You can see the true balance. Because after they check in, it shows you balances as if they were to leave right this second and room and tax hadn't posted.
Okay.
So watch that. It's confusing. So either way, so say you're taking the amount here, just put in the amount, and you should get a list of cards here if you've already stored them. And if you haven't stored any cards, so maybe just the authorization for one card's on file, you can select it from the list. It'll already be there waiting to reuse next time.
Mm-hmm.
And just run it through for $5. And then you can stay in the same screen and then type in whatever the remainder is, or it'll just pull up the remainder really if that's what you're doing. And then click back into the number field. It'll light up the key card device, and you can just type in the next credit card number.
Okay. Perfect.
Now, it doesn't show it here, but once you get the generic device hooked up on that machine, you'll have a credit card line here, and you can just click into it and fill in the card number without actually running it through a charge.
Oh, okay. Nice.
There's a storage area, but we've got to get those devices hooked up before this field even displays.
Right. Checkout process. That seems pretty simple. It'll just prompt us for payment and such.
Yeah, checkout. It prompts you for payment. So in the case of obviously you don't have any payments made, so it'll try to collect the balance. So it'll look like the exact same as that check-in screen where the deposit screen pops up on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing extra is, when you go to check them out, it's going to ask you, would you like to print out a folio to hand to the guest?
Okay.
Which was that same thing as going over here and clicking the folio button, but it does it automatically. This little pop-up comes up after you hit the checkout button.
Okay. Okay, so what's it going to look like when we check out that NOSC reservation?
Okay, so like
Since it's
the next day.
Yeah, it's getting billed over.
Yeah. So typically you would have rolled your date between now and when this guy gets departure.
Okay.
Go ahead and hit checkout. Due to us not rolling the date forward, we're going to get some extra questions because it thinks he's checking out early.
Right.
So we're actually getting an early checkout screen. You would not get this if you had rolled your date properly.
Right.
So, good to see, though. In this case here, check out the reservation and do not charge the guest for future days. Nope, let's check out the guest and charge the guest for the future days. So basically it's going to do the audit for this one reservation for us, which is post-room and tax.
Okay.
In the case of an early checkout that you do need to actually collect money for. There we go.
There it is.
Because yeah, it put us into a manual option, which if you had to, you could use it over here, which was to manually do that one. If I had that switch off, you could do bill charges to Group Master, and then it would push it, creating this line item here.
Okay.
Which is what you have to do sometimes. Like, say this reservation had already checked out, and then you realize that there was a bunch of charges that you forgot to bill to them. You could come back in, post charges to it, and then come over here and then bill the charges again to the Group Master, and it would create another line item